So there are some people who have recently joined, and there are some people who have already done the core Java sessions, and now they want to get started with the Selenium part. Right. So today's session is around the introductory part of Selenium. What exactly Selenium is? What will be our roadmap? How to configure Selenium, and how we're going to get started with our very first automation script. So this is what we'll be looking at in our today's session. But before we get started, do you guys have any questions, anything that you want to discuss before we start? Anyone?
Hello. Hi, Rahul. I'm audible.
Yeah.
So, Rahul, actually, I have some knowledge of Selenium. So, will we go in deep in this course or we just cover the basic things of Selenium?
See, Selenium, we're gonna start from basics level until advanced level. We're gonna learn various features of new features of Selenium 4 as well. And then we'll be designing end-to-end frameworks. We're gonna learn a lot of new utilities. We'll gonna do some integrations with cloud AWS as well. We'll integrate Docker. So there are some advanced topics we are going to cover, and we'll be working on 2 live projects in this course. So if we talk about the course content, if you take a look at this slide, so this is what we are going to cover in a duration of 3.5 months of this course. So today we'll be learning a brief on Selenium introductory part. And then we'll be getting started with core Java. The people who have recently joined will first gonna go through the complete core Java part up till collections API. So this is going to take at least 6 to 7 weeks to cover the core Java part. And then you're gonna move to the Selenium batch. So core Java is actually taken by a different instructor, Mr. Ajay. So he's taking all the core Java sessions from past more than 3 4 years with us, and he have already completed so many batches. So it's like one of the expert trainer in Java. So he'll be handling all your basic Java concepts. He'll help you in building up your solid base for like Selenium, because in order to work on Selenium, you should be good in the basic programming part. So there is no advanced Java in Selenium. So if you are coming from a manual testing background, I know, I mean, 90% of the audience is from the testing background itself. So you need not to worry about the coding part. You need not to worry about the programming part. So in Selenium, only basic Java that is required. There are some people who are actually confused in learning Java or Python. So some people say Python is quite easy. I should go for Selenium with Python first, and Java is little complex to implement. It's nothing like that. In both Python or Java or C Sharp or JavaScript, we are going to cover only the basic concepts. So these basic concepts are something which you may have studied in your graduation time or schooling time, like basic AFLs, loops, arrays, basic OOPS concepts. These are the things which remain same in all the programming languages, right? So there is no, we are not going to develop anything. We are not going to use and make a use of advanced Java. So basic concepts, whether you're doing Python, whether you're doing Java, will gonna remain same. And if you talk about a wider industry, like there are still, you're gonna find 60% of the openings are around Selenium with Java and all the other integrations that we can do with Selenium for API automation, for mobile automation. So most of the things you'll find maximum openings in Java. And then yes, along with Java, Python is the next important language. If you know Java, you can easily migrate yourself to Python within 2 weeks because your base is already built up, right? So in Java programming, we are going to build up the base for the programming, and then we'll be moving on to the Selenium part. So people who have already covered the core Java part, now they'll be starting with their Selenium sessions, and people who recently joined will be moved to the new core Java batch from next weekend. So today is like an overview. You'll actually gonna see how to get started with Selenium and what level of programming that is required for Selenium. So that is what we are going to see today. right? So these are the Selenium 4 new features that we'll be discussing about. We're gonna talk about some basics till advanced topics. So many topics are there. I will try to handle each and every element, feasible element over the web, so that you should be very much comfortable in automating any website on your own, right? Then some XPath, CSS, these are very important locator strategies. We'll be discussing some of the latest CDP features, which is provided by a Chrome browser, which can be now handled using the latest Selenium 4. So we'll be discussing about this. We'll be covering your TestNG framework in depth, then all the other integration like reporting part, database connectivity, Excel reading, logs, and so many other things. You can see Dockers, Jenkins, Maven, then AWS cloud integration. And finally, we'll be working with two live projects. One is using one of the hybrid framework, which is a combination of data plus keyword driven. And then the another important framework, which is 90% of the projects are using page object model. And we're going to add a layer of page factory on top of it. So these are the things that we will be covering in our duration of 3.5 months. Right? So this is your starting journey in automation, right? Whenever we talk about moving from manual to automation, so Selenium is the first thing that comes in the picture, because Selenium automates the UI part, the website part. But these days, if we talk about the current industry, the demand is not only of Selenium. There are so many other integrations that we do with Selenium. We need to integrate UI plus API plus mobile plus all other stuff related to DevOps are also there, and there are dedicated courses on that, right? The best part is when like most of you have already enrolled in the lifetime membership package. So after learning Selenium, you can go for API automation, then you can go for the DevOps course. So then you can also learn Selenium Python. So these are the courses we are conducting in the live batches. So it's not like in a matter of like 1 or 2 months you have to learn everything. It's a incremental development process, incremental learning process. So like once you're done with like Selenium, then you can go for the API automation, then you can add on DevOps to it. So down the line, 1 year, 2 year, you'll be comfortable with so many things, right? DevOps new batch we are planning for the month of Jan. So we'll be starting with the new batch of DevOps. But till that time, you can also go through the recordings of the previously conducted sessions. So we are going to record all live sessions. So we're gonna have all these 30 plus automation courses, detailed video library access. So in case if the batch is not running at the moment, you can even like for the DevOps, you can see this is DevOps. We cover DevOps with AWS cloud as well as the Azure cloud. So there are two different courses. So you can click on anyone and start going through the recent session recordings from here. We will be discussing complete Selenium. It's not like only Selenium for, there are some common features in previous version. So we will be covering everything. When we are starting with JMeter, so JMeter, we are expected to start in another 2 weeks. For mobile automation, we have recently started a batch which is in Python. So if you want to cover mobile part, you can cover it in APM Python course as well. Yes, you're going to get recordings for all these sessions. So for the current session that we are doing, I'll be adding the recording over here in the Selenium 4.0 with core Java live training part. So if you go to this, just a moment.
Rahul, sorry to speak in between. No, I am not talking about that mobile app, native app. I am talking about the mobile browser.
Mobile browser, as in like we're gonna see how we can launch a mobile browser using Selenium 4 feature. That we're gonna see.
May I take 1 minute more to explain my question, if you allow?
Sure,
Actually, my project demands web automation. It's a web app project where we support multiple browsers and mobile app as mobile browser as well. So I have already automated web all the web browsers, but my QA manager demands ki same framework should consist of running on the mobile browser as well as an web browser as well. So
So
I want,
that mobile browser, is it on the real device?
yeah, it's on the real device.
So that is covered in APM.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we already have that covered in, if you go through the APM recording, so you're going to find web view session over there. So same thing that we do in Selenium for web view application, same thing will work on your mobile app. Just that you need to add, you need to do some additional configuration to configure APM. Rest of the code is of Selenium only. Okay, so yeah, this is the place where we'll be adding all the recordings. And yeah, this will be accessible. So this is like the core Java batch that just ended, and now they are starting with the Selenium part. This is the previous batch. Same way, you can go through the recordings of all previous batches. So we upload all the trainings recordings over here. Right. So complete course is the in this library. So in case if you like want to cover Selenium and let's say in a month's time as well, so during the weekdays, you can try going through these recordings and can do a self-paced learning as well. And in case you get stuck anywhere, then you will be added to all the WhatsApp groups. You can post your queries in the WhatsApp groups. You can directly get in touch with me as well on the WhatsApp. So you'll get complete support in your queries. How much experience can you justify after the course completion? See, like to be very honest, if you thoroughly practice the Selenium part, you thoroughly practice the framework designing part, then you should be able to justify at least 2 years of your experience in Selenium automation easily. But as I said, these days the demand in automation is not only around Selenium. So if we go back 3, 4 years, 5 years, then if you talk about automation, then only Selenium was like, if you know Selenium, then you are good in automation. But these days, the competition has grown so much. There are many automation tools introduced after Selenium as well. Like you may have heard about Cypress, you may have heard about WebDriver IO, you may have heard about Robot Framework, and number of things are there. So Selenium is now your start in automation, right? Selenium is actually going to build up your base for automation. So you need to add on more things related to API, more things related to mobile. So I'm going to guide you in the roadmap. So we are going to discuss about all these things in our today's session. So it will be very much clear to you, right? But yes, if you know at least Selenium and API automation, the combination of these two things is a big boom in the industry. So you should be able to justify easily 2, 3 years of experience in automation. Right. Prober automation tool, no, I don't think, I mean, it's very popular because I have not heard about this Prober automation tool, but I can try exploring it. Right. So Selenium is very popular and the demand is never ending across the globe, like whichever country that you are right now. And Selenium is like anything. I mean, the automation, when we talk about automation, it starts with Selenium itself. Right. So, yeah. Any more questions?
Hi Rahul, I have one question.
Yeah.
So as you said at the beginning of the course that these days there are many plugins that are going to get like in Selenium. So can we do API testing also through Selenium?
Not through Selenium, but in the same framework, you can integrate API automation. Selenium is for UI automation.
Right. So in the same framework means like in the same project.
In the same project, yes. In the same project where you are doing UI automation, you can integrate API automation as well.
So it is something like that, like something we use for like mail and all, JUnit
Yeah,
something.
exactly. So it's just
Okay.
like adding another jar file.
So just like importing another like external file
Library.
to my internal.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. I thought
Exactly.
like we can do like, okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Rahul, I have a request for this time. As you know, I joined your batches multiple times just for my revision work. In Java, we don't get assignments. Can you help us out? Likewise, you give assignment in every batch
Mhm.
after every for every weekend in Selenium. Can we have that same for Java as well?
Sure, I can talk to Ajay about the same, but we have a list of assignments in Java. If you want, I can forward you that list. Otherwise, I'll ask Ajay to give you assignments after every session. So
It will be helpful for the interview point of view as well, and for
Mhm.
point of view as well. So can we
Sure,
have
sure,
that list? That will be great.
sure. We'll do that. But yes, in automation, you'll be getting so many assignments, so many live websites to automate. So don't worry about the assignment part. Duration of the course will be 3.5 months. Classes will be every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 2 hours each. The timings are going to remain the same at which you are doing the very first session right now. So it will be 8 p.m. India time, IST, till 10 p.m. IST. So when you will be receiving the meeting invites, people who are joining from outside India, you just need to click on the link to see the timings as per your time zone. All right. Okay, any more questions before we get started? So
So
can
from
anyone just, I mean, like people who have already completed the Java part, can you just like add it in, just message in the chat box that you are done with Java, so that I'll come to know that who all are new and who have completed the Java. So just write down done. That's it.
yeah,
Okay,
so,
and people who are new, just right now write down new. That's it. So we'll come to know that, I mean, who all are new. Okay. Okay. So many new people are joining today. That's great. Okay. That's great. Yeah. That's fine. Okay. So any more questions? Any more queries?
yeah, Rahul. So query was on this only, that from next week you are telling that classes will be starting continuously. So from 8 to 10, it will be Selenium or Java, because
It
I.
will be both. It will be both at the same time because both are covered by different instructors.
Okay, the same. So yeah, I would like
Yeah.
to first Java,
So
then.
people who are joining new will be first covering the Java part and then starting with Selenium. And people who already know Java or have completed Java will be starting with Selenium part.
Okay.
Right. So people who want to complete the course, like don't want to wait for 3.5 months, want to complete it a little early, can also refer the recordings of Core Java during the weekdays and attend the live sessions of Selenium during the weekends. So this way as well you can do. But it's completely your choice. If you're not in rush, if you're not in hurry, then because Selenium is related to the coding part only, and coding requires practice. So it requires time. It's not like a spoon feeding sort of stuff. Like within 2 days or 3 days, you should be able to cover everything easily in the programming part. It takes time to build up logic. Right, during weekdays, I mean that during weekdays you can go through the recordings of the previous batch, and during weekends you can join the live sessions of Selenium if you know Java. Can you plan Java certification after that? Yes, you can go for OCJP certification. That is of the basic core Java certification.
Where will you share the link, Ajay? The
Uh,
the
the
screen which you
the
are
links
showing.
will be shared in, if you are already added to the to our Telegram channel, the broader channel, you'll be receiving meeting invites for all the courses over there as well. And rest, during the coming week, you'll be getting new WhatsApp groups for the Java batch as well as the Selenium batch. So respective meeting invite will be shared in those groups. So in the WhatsApp group description itself, for all the weeks, you'll be able to see the recording link as well as the meeting invite. So you need not to go to any email. You just open up your WhatsApp group, just see the description, click on the link and join the session.
Okay, nice, thanks.
Right. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, so let's get started. Then
Yeah, Rahul, I would be having one question.
yeah.
Do you go for the Tosca also, like Tosca automation also training?
Tosca, I guess it's a paid tool, so we don't get much demand for Tosca training. So that is the reason we have not yet planned for the Tosca part.
But
So
nowadays, you see the industry is moving towards the codeless more because they are getting
yeah,
more of the features inbuilt there itself. So yeah,
yeah, we'll look into it. I mean, like if we can find a good trainer in Tosca, then we'll definitely try to arrange at least one session for it, so
thanks.
everyone can participate in that. When API, see, one API batch ended today itself. So next one we're gonna start in couple of weeks. So most probably in Jan. GraphQL, we have not yet started, but the API trainer who is taking the API classes may gonna include some topics of GraphQL. I'll talk with him regarding this GraphQL part as well. Okay. Karate is another API framework, like a codeless framework. We may not start a live session, but I have a plan to come with a video library on this karate framework. See, there are so many things. I mean, endless tools are there in the industry, but we try to cover which are like very popular and very much in demand. So let's see, we have this karate framework as well in the pipeline. So next year early, we may gonna come up with a video course on it. Right. Okay. So let's start. So very first thing, what exactly is Selenium? Anything and everything that you know about Selenium, just let me know. Especially from the people who are joining new, who have not attended any previous demo. So you can unmute yourself or you can just type it in the chat box. Just let me know what exactly is Selenium. UI automation that is browser based. Selenium is a suite of tools. So what should I write? Selenium is a tool to automate browsers, or let's say web-based applications. Just a minute. Web-based applications only, right? It's a framework API which help in automation web applications. So some says it's an API, some are saying that it's a framework, it's a collection of tools, suite of tools. But mostly the answer is around web-based applications. So Selenium is only and only for web-based application testing, right? Web-based application automation. So web-based application, like you can only automate websites. You cannot automate other areas. What all other areas are there? Like we have web-based applications, web-based. We do testing on web-based apps. Like if we talk about manual testing itself, so what all areas do you do manual testing on?
Windows-based
Standalone,
application.
like standalone as in desktop,
Yeah.
Windows, standalone, API, API as in like web services, DB, database, mobile, correct, mobile apps. So these are the areas where we generally perform testing on. And if we talk about any big applications or e-commerce application or mobile application, like banking application, mostly you're gonna find they have their web-based application as well. They have their database as well. They have mobile applications as well. Like if we talk about any like Amazon itself, Amazon they have their mobile application. Amazon they maybe having their databases as well. They have their APIs as well, which most of the communication is done using APIs itself. They have their web-based application. Desktop, it's not very popular these days, but yes, there are some projects which they have their desktop applications as well, right? So these are the areas where we generally perform manual testing, and these are the areas that we automate as well. Are these together termed as full stack? Yeah, I mean, not only this, there are a lot of other things which we add to make it a complete full stack, right? So we may gonna include DevOps part as well, some of the cloud things as well to make it like a full stack. But before going to that part, so Selenium, if we talk about Selenium, comes over here. Selenium is only and only for web-based application testing, right? Not for desktop, not for API. Have you heard anything for desktop applications? Any tool for desktop application that can automate desktops? QTP, or it is named as UFT these days, right? So UFT, QTP can also automate web-based applications and can also automate desktop applications. But Selenium can only automate web-based applications. Have you heard anything for API? Postman, Ready API, Rest Assured, right? These are all for API. Postman is generally for manual testing of APIs. So Ready API, Rest Assured, or yeah, Karate framework. These are majorly for the automation part. Database, your SQL, MySQL, Oracle, MongoDB, right? All these are your like SQL vendors where you can write SQL queries, store procedures, and you can do manipulations in the database. Then for the mobile apps, do you know any tool to automate mobile application? APM, very popular automation tool, right? APM is widely used in the industry. Selendroid is Selenium for Android. Selendroid no more exists now, so everything is converted into APM only because APM supports both Android and iOS part. Even the Windows app part as well is supported. Yeah, Espresso is another automation tool. Espresso, right? So, but yes, very popular is APM. But again, if you take a look at all these tools, where exactly Selenium is only here for web-based testing, web-based application testing. Then why Selenium is very popular in the industry? Why, if we talk about automation, like let's say, in not only automation, if you're going for manual testing interview as well, Selenium is like a prerequisite that do you have knowledge in Selenium? Even if you are going for a manual interview, this is a basic question. Do you know Selenium? Why only Selenium? Why not other tools? Why Selenium is very popular? It's an open source, correct? It's an Selenium is an open source. Open source means there is no license required to work on Selenium. It's completely free of cost, right? Anyone can download Selenium, configure it, and start automating the websites. But is this the only reason? Open source. There are other open source tools as well available in the industry. Why those are not very popular? Why only Selenium is popular? Right? We talk about Cypress. We talk about like previously there was a tool called as Protractor. Now it is gone from the industry, but that was also popular tool. So other automation tool, even robot framework is there. That is also completely open source. But why only Selenium? Because it supports multi-language. So some of the features of Selenium is it has got a multi-language support. What all languages? It supports Java, it supports C Sharp, it supports Python, it supports Ruby, it supports JavaScript, it supports PHP. All major languages in the world are supported by Selenium. It has got a multi-browser support. So you can run your test on like Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Opera, Edge, IE. All major browsers in the world are supported. What else? Multi-platform. Multi-platform as in multi-OS. So you can run your test on Windows, on Linux, on Mac, on Solaris, on iOS, on Android. All major operating systems in the world are supported by Selenium. If we talk about QTP, if we talk about UFT, which language is supported by QTP UFT?
VB script.
VB script. So if we talk about VB script, which operating system is supported by VB script?
Windows.
Windows. VB script is created by Microsoft and it works only and only on Windows. It means if you are using QTP, then you can automate your applications only and only on Windows. But these days, many people are using Mac machines, many people are using Linux machine, and client wants that his product should work fine in all major operating systems, all major browsers. So if we talk about QTP, then you can only test it on Windows. Whereas if we talk about Selenium, so we have just seen how many languages Selenium supports. In this, if we talk about Java only, if you have ever installed Java, the very first message you're gonna see that 3 billion devices runs on Java. So be it Linux, Mac, Windows, any operating system you name, all operating systems support Java. And if you write your code, Selenium code in Java, then you can execute that code in any operating system that you want. So this is one of the best benefit of using Selenium. You can write your code in any programming language. It's not like now if you talk about multi-language support, it doesn't mean that if my website is developed in, let's say, Ruby, then I'm learning Selenium with Ruby. If my development team is, if we have Ruby developers over there, then we are forced to learn Ruby for automation as well. It's not like that, right? You can use any programming language, any language that you are master in, and you can write your Selenium code in that language because Selenium library is available in all these languages. So if you're coming from a Python background, then you can directly start Selenium with Python. Right? It's not dependent on what language the website is built up. So this is best part of Selenium. It supports all major languages. And yes, QTP UFT is license based, right? For a single user, the license is over 2000 USD, I guess. So if a company is going for a concurrent license of 50 users, it may gonna cost a huge amount. Whereas Selenium, it's completely free of cost. Not only this, QTP is basically a tool. A tool in the sense, you get a setup file in QTP. It's like a exe file. You double click and do next. It gets installed on your machine. After installation, it provides you a GUI sort of interface where you can use couple of features, like multiple features which are there in that tool. You can do record and play, you can do scripting, right? And so many features you can use of that tool. But again, QTP is a tool. Tool means that there is a boundary. If that tool is providing you with 200 features, you can automate your test case using those 200 features only. When we write test cases, we do a lot of permutation and combination. And it doesn't mean that for every permutation and combination, you're going to get a feature in that tool. If a feature is there, you can use and you can automate that scenario. But if a feature is not there, then you cannot automate that. So there is always a restriction, right? A limitation if you are working with any automation tool. Because if there are features you can use, if not, you cannot. But if you talk about Selenium, Selenium is not a tool. Not a tool means you cannot install Selenium. You'll not be able to see any GUI like interface in Selenium. You cannot see Selenium, right? You're not going to get any exe file that double click and install Selenium. It's nothing like that with Selenium. So Selenium is not a tool. There are no boundaries to Selenium. Anything that is feasible in your programming language, anything that is feasible in Java, you can achieve that thing with Selenium. That is how powerful Selenium is, because Java itself is a powerful language. Anything that you can imagine, you can achieve that thing in Java. Right? And same thing you can integrate with Selenium. So no boundaries. Why? Because Selenium is not a tool. It's a framework. It's a collection of libraries. It's an API. Selenium itself is an API. Now, what do you exactly understand by the term API? What is an API? What is an API? Anyone? If I'm saying Selenium is not a tool, it's an API, then what exactly is an API? Why we call Selenium as an API? Channel from which two services interact with each other. Application programming interface. That's a full form. So what is inside application programming interface? It's taking command and communicating with the browser, classes and interface. Correct. So what exactly is written inside API? API is actually a complete project. It's correct that it may gonna connect two services each other, right? When we talk about API, we are not just focusing on the web services like REST APIs. So, right, those are APIs as well. But API itself is a huge project. It's actually a project which contains some coding part, right? Which contains some classes, interface, functions, methods, right? So many things that is there in your project, and then you're consuming that project inside a different project, or maybe it's a third party project, then you're consuming that project in your own project, so that you need not to re-implement the entire functionality from scratch. So let us make this thing, yeah, what it is actually a library only, right? A collection of libraries, you can say, which contains the complete project itself, right? Whichever language that it is written in. If we talk about Java, then this library is available in a form of a jar file. If we talk about C#, it is available in a DLL file. If we do it with Python, then we need to install it using pip. Then Ruby, it is available in a form of a gem file, and so on. In every language, it is available, right? So let us first understand in a simple term. Let's see what is an API before we get started with Selenium, because till the time this is not clear, then it will be difficult to understand and work with Selenium. So let's take a simple example, a very simple example. Let's say I'm working as a Java developer with xyz.com. I work with this company, and here I got a task to design a calculator. So in a calculator, there are various operations available. I can add something, I can subtract something, I can divide something, multiply something, and so on. So many features in calculator, and I need to design all these features as a Java developer. So what will I do? I'm gonna create class with the name as calculator. Now I believe everyone must have heard about what exactly class is. So everyone must have studied C, C++ during your graduation. I'm not saying that you know everything in programming, right? I don't expect it right now, but at least in your lifetime, you have ever heard about what a class is, what a function is, a method is, right? Is there anyone who has never studied any programming language? Not practically implemented. Practical implementation, we are going to do it now with our automation. But at least you have heard about what exactly a class is. Even if you have not heard about class, objects, and all those things, don't worry about it. Just take the today's session as a very lightweight session, right? So whatever that we are covering right now, it's just to make you understand what exactly Selenium is and what level of programming that is required. From the very next session, when you'll be starting with the Java part, we're going to start Java from ABC. Then it will be very much clear to you what a class is, what a method is, right? So if you're not familiar with these, so don't take it like you don't know programming. How will you work on Selenium? So don't worry about it. Just take it as a lightweight. Just try to understand as much as you can take from this session to in order to understand that how we're going to work with Selenium, what level of coding that is required. Even if you're not able to understand the code today, then don't worry about it. From the next session, once your Java is started, your base will be developed. Don't worry about that thing, right? So what do we have inside class? So what we have inside a class? Variables, methods, correct? Objects, data members, right? So many things, right? So if I am creating a calculator as a class, then what I'll be doing, all these functions, addition, division, subtraction, I'll be creating these as a functions inside these class. So functions are also called as methods. In Java, we call them as methods. In Python, we call them as functions, right? So functions, methods, both are same thing. So I'll be creating a method called as addition. And in this, I'm going to write some code which is going to add some number. Same way, I'll be creating a method called as division and will write some code inside this which is going to divide some number. Same way, subtraction, and same way, multiplication. And one by one, I'll be creating all these methods. So once I'm done with creating all the methods, I'll check whether addition is working fine, division is working fine. So in order to do that, I need to call this addition method from the calculator class. So how to call a method from a class? Can anyone tell me or give me the syntax for it? How to call a method from the class?
Either creating its object, or it if it is a static, directly from the class variable we can
Static, non-static, don't worry about it. Just like consider them non-static only.
object
So
creation.
object, right? So we'll be creating an object. And how to create an object? What is the syntax?
ABC A is equal to new ABC.
ABC. I mean, we need to create an object of a calculator class.
Calculator C is equal to new calculator.
Calculator C equal to new
Calculator.
calculator. This is how we create an object of a class, right? Correct. In place of C, I can also write obj. In place of obj, I can also write xyz. Anything we can write, or just a meaningful name, calcium. Right? This is how we create an object of a class. The very first syntax. How to create an object of a class? We write it like this. Calculator, calci equal to new calculator. And if we talk about calling methods, if I want to call addition method, how will I call it?
calci dot add.
Dot add. So if you write this much code and if you run it, whatever that is written inside addition method will be executed. Right? If it is written like it adds some number, then it is going to add some number. Same way, if you want to call other method, you'll say calci dot subtract, calci dot multiply, calci dot divide. So one by one, you can call all the methods, and when you run them, everything will that is written inside the code over here will be executed. But yes, in order to call these methods, you need to create an object of this class. And this is the statement how you create an object. So in this statement, what is an object? What is an object inside this statement?
New of calculator.
New calculator.
Yes.
Okay. How about others? What is an object? Is this an object? Is this an object? Is this an object? Is this an object?
Calci is an object.
Calc is an object. New is an object. New calculator. Calci. So we have
n-
mixed answers.
New
Is this an
calculator.
object?
Yeah,
Is
new
calculator
calculator.
an object?
It's a return type.
It's a return type. Is it a
Yes.
return type?
Yeah, reference variable.
This one is reference variable.
Yes.
This one,
Assignment operator.
this one,
New keyword.
this one.
This is the constructor, default constructor.
Correct. Right. So many answers are there. Many people are saying calci is an object. Many people are saying new calculator is an object. So basically, if we talk about an object is always created whenever we say new and the class name, or this is also called as constructor. So in this statement, we have a type. This is also called as a type. You can refer it as a data type, but this is actually a type, the class type. Then we have a variable. We don't call it as object, we call it as object reference. It is holding the address of an object. An object is always created with this new keyword. So this is what is creating an object. This whole thing is an object. And this address is assigned to this reference variable using this assignment operator. So how this thing is created, we'll take a look at it practically. So basically, right now we started with the programming in Notepad. So time have changed. There are many editors available in the industry, which makes your coding very, very easy. So editors like IntelliJ is there, NetBeans is there, WebStorm is there, Eclipse is there. Eclipse and IntelliJ, these two are very widely used in the industry, right? Eclipse is completely open source, and IntelliJ as well. We also have community version. We have a paid version as well available, right? But like 70% of the audience are using Eclipse, so we'll be using Eclipse itself in the project. But if you are working with IntelliJ, then you can use the same code in IntelliJ as well. So these are just editors. Java code, Selenium code will work as the same way in these editors, right? So now in order to get started with Eclipse, Eclipse IDE, that is integrated development environment. So what we need to do, there's a prerequisite is that you need to have Java installed on your machine. Now in Java as well, we have various versions. We have latest Java, I guess latest is 20 or above that. Like you should not be going with the latest Java version. Don't install the by default latest version given on the Java website. So the supported version, the best supported version with where all the integrations, Selenium and other things are going to work is the basic version, that is Java 11. That is your JDK, Java Development Kit. So JDK 11. or you can go for with 13, you can also go with 17. I prefer going with 11 because all my integrations works absolutely fine with 11. If we anytime face any issues using the latest Java, we switch to JDK 11, all the issues are fixed, right? So all integrations works absolutely fine. So I would also recommend, if you don't have 13, 17 installed, if you already have installed this, then just keep it as it is. But if you're starting from scratch, then use this JDK 11. And how and where to get this JDK 11? You simply need to type download JDK 11. Yeah, this should work fine. Yeah. So this is the message you generally see when you open up command prompt. If you want to see what version of Java is there on your machine, say Java hyphen version. And see, I have Java 11 version on my machine. So what you need to do is just go to this link by Oracle, and you'll see a lot of components. Whether you are using Linux, you can download these packages. If you are with Mac, then you can download this DMG file. If you are using Windows, then you need to download this exe. And when you click on downloading exe and select this, automatically it may not be downloaded. You first need to create a free Oracle account. So just click on create account and create your account, and then enter the username and password, and then your download will start. So let me see if I have created account. So see, as soon as I clicked on it, the download starts. So I'm not going to re-download it. I've already downloaded. And this comes as a exe file. Installing is very simple. Double click on exe, next, and it gets installed. After installation, you're going to see it will create some folders inside your C drive program files, and you'll see a Java folder created here. If you open this folder, you will get your JDK 11. If you open this, you'll see the bin folder, and here somewhere you're gonna see Java, right? So Java exists at this location. Now you may be doing a lot of integrations like Jenkins, Maven. We'll talk about what these things are. But all these things, they're not going to work on your machine till the time Java is not there on your machine. Even Eclipse will not work if Eclipse don't know where Java is there on your machine. So what you need to do, you need to add this location to your system environment variables. So there is a configuration that we need to do is to set up the environment variables. How we do it? In your search, type edit, and you see edit the system environment variable. Click on this. From here, these are very crucial settings. You need to have an admin rights in order to add these settings. So click on environment variable. And here you see a user variable. You need not to do anything in the user variable. You need to do it in the system variable. In the system variable, you need to click on new and create a variable name saying Java underscore home and paste the path of your JDK root folder here and click on OK. That's it. Once you're done with this, you will see a variable created which is holding the address of your JDK folder. If you go down after doing this, you'll find a path variable which is already there. Click on edit. You will see so many things, your system 32 configuration. Whenever you install your Windows, you'll see a lot of things get added here by default. You are not going to edit or remove any of the existing things. Otherwise, it may corrupt your Windows, may stop existing running programs, right? You need to be very careful while doing these settings. So what you need to do, simply click on new, type percentage Java underscore home percentage. When you type this, this will bring the value of Java home. That is the JDK folder. You're gonna get that value over here. And where is Java inside that JDK folder? It is inside the bin folder. So this is where the Java is. So what you need to do after this, you'll say backslash and bin. That's it. Like I've already done it here. I'm not going to redo it. I'll delete it. That's it. That is the only thing you need to do. Click on OK, click on OK, click on OK, and Java is successfully configured. Now you go to any location on your machine, you go to C drive or any other location on your machine, you can access Java by simply saying Java hyphen version. From any location, you should be able to access it. Java is globally configured on your machine. Whenever you configure any thing in the environment variable, it is globally available from any path you access it. Right? Is there any difference in JRE and Java? See, JRE is Java runtime environment. In order to run Java programs, you need JRE. In order to create Java programs, you need JDK, that is Java Development Kit. When you install JDK, JRE comes along with it. So now you need not to separately install it. Prior to Java 11 version, if you install JDK 8, you'll see along with JDK one JRE folder also comes. But now you'll not see that separate folder. Everything is consist inside JDK itself. Right? So this is the first configuration you need to do. And then you can download Eclipse. Simply go over here and download the latest version of Eclipse. Download Eclipse. So go over here to the very first link and download. Don't directly download from here because there are so many things in Eclipse as well. Go to download packages and see Eclipse. There's a standalone installer as well, but you'll get so many things in Eclipse. Eclipse supports Java programming as well. Eclipse supports C, C++ as well, PHP as well, C++ as well, Python as well. A lot of things can be written inside Eclipse. I mean, if I'm coming from Python background, I can still use Eclipse and write Python code in it. But I don't need everything with Eclipse. So I'll be downloading this one, which is the most required version when you're working with Java applications. So download this Eclipse IDE for enterprise Java and web developers. Based on your Mac, Linux, or Windows. For Windows, this is the 64-bit. That should work. And it is going to download a zip file. So see, when I do a mouse over in the status bar, it is showing a zip file. This is a zip file you'll be getting. So you can download the latest one, 2023-09, right? And once you download the zip file, I've already downloaded it and I've kept it somewhere in my D drive softwares. So here, this is the Eclipse. I have a previous version. You can download the latest one. And once you extract it, you're going to see a folder of Eclipse. You open it, you'll get a Eclipse folder. Open this. Nothing installable, no installable exe file you'll get. You get this application, double click on it, and it will launch your Eclipse. This is how Eclipse looks like. Right? If you don't have Java installed, you're going to get an error over here itself. And then it will ask you to select a directory as a workspace. Now, workspace is basically your project directory. Whatever code that you are writing, you are storing that in some project at some location. That is what your workspace is. So I generally create my workspaces in this directory. So D drive, workspace, and these are all the workspaces. So generally name it with batches, right? So what I'll do, I'm gonna create your batch over here, which will be following throughout the session. So batch, I will say December 2023, Selenium, and click on launch. So see a folder created over here. Whenever you want to launch this project, you just need to give this path in the workspace while opening up Eclipse. That's it. So now it's gonna take few seconds to load your workspace. Let's see where Eclipse is. Still loading it. Just a moment. Yeah. Okay. So this is your workspace. Here you'll see a welcome screen. Just close it, and this is how your Eclipse is divided into multiple interfaces. You can close this. Here you'll be creating your projects, defining the project hierarchy. Here you'll be writing some code, and here you're going to see the output of that code. So we're going to talk about a couple of features of Eclipse as soon as we proceed to the course. The very first thing right now, what we need to do is we started as a Java developer. We need to understand what is an API. For that, we are creating a calculator, right? And we created this class calculator. So now we need to do it inside the Eclipse project. So what we'll do, we're going to click on create a project. And over here, we need to select Java project. See, step by step, a template you need to select, click on next. It's very easy. And here you need to give the project name. So project name, any name you can give. I'll name it as calculator project, right? Any name you can give. And here, by default, see, it is showing Java 17. I'll be selecting Java 11 from here, right? And uncheck this, create module info. This is not required. So these are the things that you need to do, and click on finish. And then you're going to see, click on open, a calculator project is created. If you expand this project, you'll see your JRE system library Java 11 is integrated to your project. So if you expand it, these are all the Java libraries. All the internal Java classes are mapped with your project. So normally what happens is, if you have ever worked with C++, you must have added some header statements like include conio.h, studio.h, right? Something like that. Similarly, you use Java in Notepad, you manually need to import some libraries for internal Java as well, where you say import java.util.strict, import java.math.random, and a number of other libraries. But the best part of Eclipse is if you are using any internal classes of Java, you need not to add all these import statements. Eclipse is automatically gonna take those things because all the internal classes are already mapped to your project. So you need not to add any additional import in order to use those classes. You simply need to focus on creating your own class. And that thing will do it inside the SRC folder. That is the source folder. So how we do it? Right click on this, say new, and click on class. So here we'll be defining a new class, which is a calculator class. So we're going to name it as calculator with a capital C. This is very important. Class name will always start from a capital letter. This is a coding standard, you can say, or best coding practices. Whenever you're creating a class name, it should always start from a capital letter. You can start it from a small letter as well. It will not throw any error. It can create a class with a small letter as well, but the entire industry is following the same pattern where the class name always start with a capital letter. And then check this public static void main. Click on finish. And you will see a sample code showing over here. Let me increase the font size. So over here, you can see something in reddish color, something in black color. All these reddish color are reserved keywords like public, private, protected, default. These are all called as access modifiers, right? Then we have static, non-static. We have void, int, string as a return type. So you need not to worry about what these things are right now. We have detailed lectures in core Java about all these things. What are access modifiers? What are return types? What are static, non-static members, right? All the things we'll be covering in detail in core Java. For the time being, what we need to do, anything that we need to execute in Java, that has to be inside this method body. So this is your method, main function. By default method in Java, anything you need to execute should be inside this. This is your class body. Your class contains methods, multiple methods. Right now, there is only one method. You can add more methods inside this class. But if you want to execute anything, you have to write it inside this body. Like the very first program of any programming language is to print something. If we talk about C, how to print in C? How do you print in C? What do you write?
Printf.
Printf, correct. C++,
Cout, scene.
Cout, correct. And if we talk about core Java, how we print in core Java?
This out.
System out println, right? The very first program of any programming language is to print hello world, right? There's the run button. If you click on this, then you're going to see hello world is printed. Very simple to get started with Java, right? So this is how it is, again simple to start with Selenium as well, the same way. Once we start with Selenium, you'll find it very simple and very interesting as well, right? But we are not here to print hello world. We need to understand first what is an API. For that, we have created a calculator class, and in a calculator class, we have so many methods available. We need to implement these methods as well. So where we implement it? Inside the method body, inside the class body. So first method, I'm going to create it as add with small letter. Method name always starts from a small letter. If I create it as a capital letter, it will not throw any error, right? It will not throw any error. It will still work, but it's an industry standard. So there is something called as camel casing, which is followed in the industry. In camel casing, let's say you have a word which is like a three. Let's say if I write the dark night, so there are three words. I've written it all together. Now it is very little difficult to understand what is this. If you want to make it more readable, if it is a class name, you start it with a capital letter. Any joining word will be in caps. The dark night. See, now it is more readable. Same way, if I create it as a method name, so we'll start it with a small letter, and any joining thing will be in caps. So this is how the methods are created. This is how the classes are created. By following the camel casing. See, it is in a form of a camel, right? So this is followed by the entire industry. So whenever next time you read any Java developer's code, you should be able to understand this is a class and this is a method, right? You should be able to read the project code easily. Now, inside this method, I'm going to write some code which is going to add some numbers. But let's say we don't know coding right now. So how to write that code? We are not going to write that code. We're just going to print something. We know at least how to print, system out println. So we're going to write adding some numbers. So it means if you call this addition method, it is not going to add something. It is just going to print adding some numbers. Same way, I'm going to create a couple more methods. After add, I'm going to create subtract. Is going to subtract some numbers. Then divide, it is going to divide some numbers. And then multiply, and it is going to multiply some numbers, and so on. So let's say I've created all the methods. And now I want to test whether addition is working fine or not. So what I need to do, I need to call this addition method from the calculator class. How? By creating an object of the calculator class. And how to create it? We have just seen by writing a statement, calculator calc equal to new calculator. So I'm going to copy this and I'll paste it inside the main method like this. And see, no errors. This is a correct statement. No errors means instead of calculator, if I write calculators, you'll see that it is highlighted with red line over here. There's a cross over here. If you do a mouse over, Eclipse suggests that this cannot be resolved to a type. So this thing is also known as type, right? This is the type. So Eclipse is giving you some quick fixes. It is saying either create a class as calculator. But why should we create calculators? We have a calculator as a class. So it says change to calculator. Click on this and it will be changed to calculator. All right. Now, if you say calc dot, you should be able to see the list of all the methods inside this. Whatever you have created, addition, division, subtraction, multiplication. So you call the methods one by one. If there are 100 methods inside a class, you need not to remember all the methods. Simply say calc dot, you'll get the list of all the methods and you can pick it from there. So this is the run button, click on run and you'll see adding some numbers is executed. Now same way, you can say calc dot divide, calc dot subtract, calc dot multiply. One by one, you call all the method, click on run button, and you can see everything is successfully executed. Now, same way, like we have multiplication, division, subtraction, addition, we have one more method which is having a same name as of the class name. What we call it as? What we call a method having a same name as of the class name.
Constructor.
Constructor. Correct. So what are constructors?
Whenever we create an object, a constructor gets called. Like
Constructor gets called. Okay. Anything else? Same name as the class name, but no return type. See,
It will invoke at the time of object creation.
object creation. Correct. So when I'm saying it is like a method only, I can write some code over here as well. I can say, I can write calling constructor. Right? Now, how to call it? Shall I go over here and say calc dot calculator? Say I'm not getting it. There is no method called as calculator. It means this is not a method. Then how to call it?
By default, it gets called
By
when
default, it will
By
be
default,
called.
constructor is the first method to get called.
Correct. Even if I don't call these methods, if I just write this line, whenever you create an object, the very first thing that will be called is a constructor. See, you need not to explicitly call it. It automatically calls as soon as we create an object of this type. So we'll come to the same question again. Like when I'm saying whenever we create an object, then constructor is called. Then what is an object in this statement? Some people were saying calc is an object. Some people are saying new calculator is an object. Let's assume calc is an object. Let's remove this. See, still it is a valid statement. There are no errors here. This is a correct statement. If this is an object, then when I click on run button, then the constructor should be called. So tell me, if I click on run button, will it call the constructor right now or not?
No.
No. See, when I click on run button, nothing executes. It means this is not an object. Okay, so some people are saying this is an object. Let's remove this. Still, it is a valid statement. Now tell me, if I click on run button, will it call the constructor?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Let's see. See, this is what it is calling. This is what is calling the constructor, right? So if this is an object, then what is the need of calc then? Why we need this? Why this thing is required? We should not use this because this is creating an object. What is the need of calci?
A reference variable is needed so that it can be used
It
to
it's
call
an
other methods.
anonymous object. So if we need to call 4 different methods, then we need to create 4 different object. Otherwise, we will hold the reference and call the methods.
Correct.
So basically in memory, whenever we create object, it gets saved into memory, and memory will have some specific like address for that. And to address that thing, we require like a reference variable that
Reference variable. How about others? Guys, I really want everyone should participate. There are like more than like 26, 30 students attending right now. So I want that. I mean, you should not feel it like we are taking a online session. You should take it as a classroom session only. So you can ask a number of questions, queries you have. And don't worry if it is a relevant question or not. Don't think about it. Whatever comes in your mind, just clear your doubts, right? Just make it as a very interactive session. So if you make it interactive, then only I mean, then only the interest is going to develop, right? Because in programming, normally the Java programming or the Python programming, it's little boring. But if we add live examples to it, if we make it interactive, then you'll find it very interesting. And that is where it is going to help you and build up your base for programming. Because see, what happens is you may have studied basic programming in your graduation or in your schooling time or by your own as well. But let's say if you have studied Java, basic Java, and you never implement it practically, then after 2, 3 months, you're going to forget all the concepts. You'll forget what is encapsulation, what is abstraction, what is inheritance, and all these things. You're going to forget because you never implement it practically. But now, when you are using the same thing in automation Selenium, if you write 3, 4 lines of code, your basic Java code, and you see that a browser is launching and all the actions are getting executed in the browser, then you'll find it very interesting. And then you start writing more code, adding some if else, adding some loops, and you'll see that the actions are getting happened on the website. Then that is what is going to help you in building up this base for programming. Then you'll never gonna forget the if else loops, arrays. All these concepts will be very much clear to you because you have practically implemented it, right? Because if you are not gone into the development part, so you never implement that core Java, whatever programming that you have studied. And if you never implement it, you are going to forget all the concepts. So that is what now, when you are practically implementing it in automation, it is definitely going to help you in building up a strong programming concept in you, right? So let's make it very interactive. Whatever question, doubts you have, just clear it in the live sessions. You can also clear it in the WhatsApp groups as well once you'll be added to the group. But yes, if you have any doubts, you can definitely clear it in the live sessions as well. Okay, so now how about others? So I got a couple of answers that why that calci reference is important. How about others? What is the need of that calci? Why we need it? I need more answers. Why we need calci?
You can also say that to call the methods, because we
To
cannot
call the
call
methods.
methods from just new constructor.
So in order to call addition, subtraction, division, we need that calci, right?
Right.
So let's say if I don't have calci, I cannot call addition, I cannot call division. Like when we do calci, we say calci dot add, we say calci dot divide, right? If I don't have this calci, can I call addition method? Can I call
I
addition?
I
Yes, yes.
think yes. I think yes.
Okay.
Yes. How?
New calculator of
Dot.
dot, then the method name.
New calculator
Dot,
dot.
then the
The
method name.
See, I can still call it, right? If I run this thing, then you'll see calling constructor, adding some number, execute it. What if I need to call division now? How to call it?
I think same.
Same thing, I need to do it again. I need to say new calculator dot divide, new calculator dot multiply, new calculator dot subtract. So it means in order to call 4 methods, I'm creating 4 different objects. You can see constructor is called 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? If we have 100 methods, then will we be creating 100 different objects, each object to call each method? That is not feasible, right? We cannot have so many things created in the memory like this. So what we do, we just create one object and store the address of that object in some variable. That variable name, we can call it as xyz equal to this. Or we generally give it a meaningful name. Now, every variable in Java must have some type. Like if we are storing some value, 100, in some variable value equal to 100, what is going to be the type of this value?
Int.
And it will always be in, right? Can I store it inside string like this? It will not work, right? It is going to throw error over here. Why? Because this is a number. This is an integer value. The type is corresponding to what the value you are storing. If you want to store a string value, let's say I want to store my name. The name is always written in double quotes. And then I can store it inside string. I cannot store this inside int. So whatever value is, the type should be corresponding to that. So if this is a string value, this should be string. Now, what is string? What is string? What is int? What is string in Java?
It's a data type.
It's a data type? Correct. Anything else? We call string as?
It's a class.
Correct. See, if I do mouse over on this, you'll see string class. String is also a class in Java. If this is a class, then what is value?
Same. It's like reference variable.
Reference variable or an object reference, right? So if this is a reference variable, we say value dot, it should show list of all the methods inside the string class. See, all these methods belongs to string class. And this is the same thing. Whenever we are storing string value, the type should be string. Now we are storing this. What should be the type? The type should be of the same class type. So it should be calculator. That is the reason we call it as a type or the data type. And now when you use this reference variable and put a dot, you get all the methods from the calculator. Calc dot add, calc dot subtract, calc dot multiply, calc dot divide. And now when you save it and when you run it, you'll see only and only one object is created and all the methods are referred from the same object reference. So this is a very basic concept. Although these things will be covered again in the Java sessions, what is class, how to, and there are so many things inside the class, objects, method, blueprint, lot of things which you are going to cover it in a theoretical part as well in the core Java. Then it will be very much clear to you. But right now, in order to understand what is an API, let's say I've created the complete calculator project. And let's assume I've written some 500 lines of code in this addition method with a very complex logic. Now, what I want, that I want to publish this project in the market. And I want to launch this project as an open source project. Right? I don't want to charge anything from anyone. And what I want, like I've already created addition. If someone wants to do addition, subtraction, then he should not recreate the entire method. He should not recreate the entire functionality. He can access my addition method and can do addition division. And for that, I'll not be charging any, I'll not gonna include any license. I'll gonna make it open source. Open source does not only means that it is free of cost. It is free, but open source means that anyone can contribute into the development of this project as well. So if next time, if there is any developer who wants to do any enhancement in this project, wants to add some more functionality related to calculating percentage, square root, and number of other things, then he's most welcome. He can add those functionalities in this project, and then we can launch a next version of this project. And if someone wants to make a use of this project in their own in-house project, want to do some addition division, without rewriting the entire code in addition again, he can access this method and can implement addition. So this is how the open source project is actually launched. And in order to launch this project so that it can be accessed from any part of the world, what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on this project and I'm going to say export, and we'll select Java from here, select jar file, click on next, and I'm going to name the jar file as calculator version 1.0.jar, the very first version of my project, and I'm gonna store it in the on the desktop, and I'm gonna click on finish. So if I go to the desktop, you'll see this is what the calculator project is created. Now it's not like if I double click on it, it is going to install the calculator on my machine. This thing is not going to do any installation. With this jar file, you'll only going to come to know what all classes are there, what all methods are there. That's it. Even if the developer has not given you access to see the code inside the addition method, you'll not be able to see the code. But you can access the functionality of addition method by just calling that method from the calculator class. Now I have uploaded this jar file on my website. Why? Because it can be accessed, website can be accessed from any part of the world. So next time, if anyone want to do addition division, just go to my website, download this jar file, and can access the addition functionality. So after launching this project, I left this organization. I'm going to close this project. Close. And then I joined a new company, a new organization. Again, as a Java developer, I joined. And this time, let's say I joined American Express. So MX project I joined, right? And again, I joined as a Java developer, but I joined in between of that project. That project was already there. Their banking website was already there. There was already a class named as banking, which has got a couple of functionalities already created, like public void, sorry, profit. There was a method called as public void loss. So these functionalities are already there under the main method. Let me add it. Right. So I was hired in between of this project. Now they asked me to implement a functionality to add salaries for n number of employees. So I need to create a functionality that should add a salaries for all the employees and give them a result in the report. So something like I need to create a method which is similar to what I've created in my previous project, the addition method. I need to create this method over here as well. Now there are two ways I can achieve this functionality. First, I can rewrite the entire code of 500 lines over here as well. I can easily do it, but it is going to take me some days because there's a complex code as well involved in it. So I can do it, but it will take me some time. So why to put the unnecessary effort for a couple of days when this functionality is already implemented in my previous project and it is freely available? So instead of rewriting it, what I did, I've gone to the website of my previous organization, right? And I downloaded that jar file, that calculator jar file from that website. And then I right clicked on my project, gone to build path, add external archives, and I have added this as a reference library domain. So this is a third-party project coming from a previous organization. I've added this project in my current organization as a reference library. If you expand it, you should be able to see the calculator class, all the methods over here. But I don't have access to code. That is fine. I don't know what is written inside addition because developer may have not given me the access. But I can still access the addition functionality without even looking at the code. How? I'll go inside my banking class. I'll create an object of calculator class. Calculator calc equal to new calculator. And see, I'm not getting any error. This banking project is able to understand what calculator is. How? With the help of this jar file. If I remove this jar file, then how will this banking know what exactly calculator is? If you do a mouse over, it says create a class calculator. But why should we recreate it? It is already available in that third-party project. So we'll add that project. We'll add that third-party project again. We'll go to build path, add external archives. We'll add that project. And now you can see errors are gone. And now what we need to do? We need to access the method inside this, which is inside this class, the addition method. I'll go over here and I'll say calc.add. See, I've implemented the entire functionality without rewriting the code. Let's change this name to add salary. So add salary is completely implemented without rewriting the 500 lines of code. Now, if you want to check, access the add salary, if you want to see the functionality is working fine or not, you need to call this method from the banking class. How will you call it? To call any method from a class, you just need to create an object of that class. So create an object of banking, b equal to new banking. That's it. And say b dot add salary and run it. And you'll see same functionality is executed without rewriting the entire code with the help of this jar file. And if you talk about this jar file, this is what act as an API to your American Express project. And if you're talking about Selenium, Selenium is one of the same thing. Selenium is available in a form of a single jar file or multiple collection of jar files. In the same project, you can use Selenium. How? By just navigating to the main website of Selenium. Which is the main website of Selenium? Anyone?
Selenium
Selenium
HQ.
Selenium?
Yep.
Selenium HQ?
Yeah.
Selenium.dev.
Yeah, the new website is selenium.dev. Selenium HQ is the very old website. So selenium.dev, you can see Selenium automates browsers. That's it. Selenium is only for web-based testing. Anything and everything available on a web can be easily automated using Selenium. You go to downloads, and over here you can see language bindings supported by C#, Ruby, Java, Python, JavaScript, right? You go down, you'll see the latest version is 4.15.0. We'll be using this version itself. Just click on it and you'll see in the downloads, your Selenium is already downloaded, right? And see, this is a jar file. If I go to downloads, you get this jar file, which is just a 37 MB jar file. So what you need to do, you need to include this jar file in your American Express project. Go over here, build path, add external library, and go to download and add this jar. That's it. Now you can automate any website in the world easily. So in calculator jar file, we have calculator class. In Selenium jar file, we have classes related to Selenium. Like if I want to automate anything on a Chrome browser, the very first thing we need to do is to launch a Chrome browser. So I need to call a class, Chrome driver. Chrome driver, I'll create an object of this class. Now this class is coming from Selenium jar file, right? See, I've created the object of this and I'll click on run and see what happens. A Chrome browser is launched. See, this is a Chrome browser. A Chrome browser is launched just by creating an object of this class clicking on run button is launching a Chrome browser. So where the code is written to launch the browser, maybe some developer has written some 500 lines of code just to launch the browser. But I have not written that code to launch the browser. I've just created object of this class and the browser is launched. So where that code is written? Can anyone tell me where that code is written, which is launching the browser?
It's in written in Selenium server jar file.
Selenium jar file. Where inside the jar file? Where inside the Selenium library? Where in the jar file? Where that code is written?
Like how we have written for calculator. So
Yeah, for that we have written inside calculator class, we have created a method, right?
right. So same like that. So on somewhere, some computer, it has been
In
written.
in Chrome driver class.
In
In
Chrome
the
driver,
constructor of the
right?
Chrome driver?
We have called Chrome driver class over here.
Yeah.
Right? There we have called calculator class. So code was written in the calculator class. Now we have called Chrome driver class. So the code is written inside Chrome driver class. So where inside the Chrome driver class?
Inside constructor?
Inside constructor
Oh, I mean,
or
the Chrome
anywhere
driver
else?
class will be there in Selenium server jar file, right?
Yeah, Chrome driver class is inside Selenium server jar file. But
Right.
where the code is inside Chrome driver class. Where inside Chrome driver class?
Methods.
Where? Part of function? Have we called any function? Have we called any method over here?
Inside constructor itself.
Inside constructor itself, right? See, the very first thing, whenever you create an object of a class, the very first thing that is called is a constructor. Even if you don't write this thing, this is creating an object of a class. If you click on run, as soon as the object is created, constructor is called. Inside the constructor itself, the code is written to launch the browser. See, we have not yet called any method, right? Method will call it now. Like how to call a method? Simply object reference dot. And see, we get list of all the methods inside this class. And one of the method we call it as get, the very first method, which is asking for a URL in a string format. So string is double quotes. And then the URL HTTP. Let's say I want to navigate to google.com. Just save this and run this. And you will see browser is launched and now it is navigating to google.com. So one by one, you can keep on calling method. Let's say the next thing I want to validate the title of this page. My very first test case is to get the title. Title is Google, right? How to get the title? One by one, you keep on calling the method driver.getTitle. So this is only going to give you the title. This is not going to print the title because printing task is not of Selenium. Printing task is of your Java. How to print in Java? Put it inside system out println. That's it. Save this, run this again. You'll again see a browser is launched. Navigation will happen to Google, and then it will print the title as Google. Right? Now, maybe some developer has written 500 lines of code to launch a browser, 200 lines of code to navigate to Google, then again 200 lines. Sorry. Just give me a moment, guys. Just a moment, guys. Let me get a glass of water. Just give me a moment. Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, maybe they've written so many lines of code, but we are not worried as a tester, right? As a tester, we need not to look at that code. We are not developing Selenium. Selenium library is already developed. There are a couple of classes. There are so many methods. We just need to create an object of those classes, call the methods and automate the entire website. That's it. And for that, we need to know the basic programming. We need to understand what a class is, what an object is, right? What a constructor is. These are the things that we already have studied theoretically long time back, but practically we have not implemented it. So we may have forgot all the concepts. But now when you see just 3 lines of code, and then when you click on run, a browser is launching, navigation is happening, title is getting printed, all the actions will be performed like this way. Then it will build up your interest in learning programming. And then you're never going to forget these programming concepts. Right. So that is how we will be working with Selenium. We'll be starting with Selenium from the very next session. People have already completed Java. We'll directly be starting with the Selenium classes, and people who have joined new will be starting with the Java part first. And once your Java is finished, then immediate next weekend, you'll be starting with the Selenium part. Right. And then if we talk about Selenium, like how many components are there in Selenium? We have seen a couple of features of Selenium, but how many components are there? Yeah. Thanks, Antrix. Yeah. So we have WebDriver, we have Grid. Any more components that
Deprecated one RC and ID.
RC? Correct. Deprecated is RC, which is deprecated now. Deprecated as in this is gone now. Not even deprecated, this is gone now. And then we have ID. So mostly these are the 4 popular components we know with Selenium: ID, RC, WebDriver, Grid. ID is just like a record and play. Every automation tool has some record and play functionality. QTP, UFT have majorly invested in the record and play feature. But the record and play of Selenium is just a small plugin to your browser. If you are practically working in Selenium, you never use this record and play. So record and play is something like this is what when you initially navigate to the website, you get this WebDriver ID that you know nowhere you're gonna see RC, right? And when you install this ID, you can see download for Chrome, Firefox. So this is available on both the browsers, and it gets installed like this. This is your Selenium IDE, just a plug into your browser. This is a Chrome browser. And here you can do record and play. Record and play is something like you click on create a new project, give it some name. That's a Google project. Click on OK. See a project created. Now you click on the recording is in progress right now. Okay, click on start recording. So here it is going to ask you the URL of your website, the base URL. Just simply give http google.com and click on start recording. So this will start your recording. And you can see a browser is launched. Over here, you can see Selenium ID is recording. Anything you perform, any action you perform, you write Selenium over here, Selenium. And you click on anything, you click on any link over here. What are the actions that you have performed over here? So all the things are getting recorded. If you see, all the actions are getting recorded over here. So this website is taking a little time to open up, but anyways, so once we are done with this, we'll gonna go over here and we're gonna stop the recording. Just a moment. Let me close this. And then we stop the recording. We'll name this test as Google test and we'll click on OK. So this is your test steps that are recorded. If you want to play them back, simply click on run all test. You'll again see whatever actions that we did. Everything is successfully executed. So normally what people do, they once they are done with writing this, they export this as this. You can export it as C#, Java, JavaScript, Python. So here, let's say we are using Java, so I'm going to export it as Java, and we're gonna download it a Java file as a Java file. So once it is downloaded, You just open it and you're gonna get a basic code over here. This is your Selenium code, which is generated by ID, but this is your basically a WebDriver code. And you can see initially driver.get. This is what we have written over here, driver.get, right? Launching the Chrome browser, new Chrome driver, you can see driver equal to new Chrome driver. So this code may gonna look a little tricky to you right now. You may gonna see, okay, this might be a little complex code, but this is not at all complex. This is a very simple code. Once you start with your automation, you'll find it very simple once we start learning it step by step. And nowhere you're gonna need the support of Selenium ID to generate this code. Writing this code is very, very simple. And Selenium ID, trust me, is never used in the industry. I mean, no one is working with Selenium ID. If they are actually using Selenium in their automation project, they're not going to use Selenium IDE. And there is a reason behind it. Because if we talk about Selenium itself, Selenium, all these components that I've listed down, these are only used 25% in your project. In your entire automation project, Selenium is just 25%. Then what is the rest 75%? What are the things that we use in our automation project apart from Selenium? Can anyone tell me? API, DB? In an automation project, what all things we have? Apart from Selenium, what all integrations we do with Selenium?
Maven,
Logs, logs,
Log4j.
SHG.
The major part is of core Java, right? Your Java basic concepts, if else loops. Whenever we create a project, we automate something, we add the basic Java concept. Then we generate logs. Then we
Report.
integrate with JDBC, the database part, right? We generate reports, we integrate Maven, we integrate
Apache.
Jenkins, integrate Dockers, Apache Maven, Apache Log4j, right? We send automated emails, so we have Java Mail API available. We integrated with AWS Cloud to execute it on a remote machines, right? So a lot of integrations are there that we generally do with Selenium. So Selenium code is just to launch a browser and perform a couple of actions on the browser. That's it. But in a real-time project, you will be maintaining your test cases in Excel. You'll be doing reading and writing in Excel, right? For Excel reading, writing, Selenium is not going to help you. There is a separate Java project for it. Like the way we have added this jar file, there is another project which is maintained by Apache, which is called as Apache POI. So this is a project for Microsoft Documents, the Java API for Microsoft Documents. So you go over here, go to download, you can download the jar files from here, see latest table release, or there is one global location, which is called as MVN repository. You download, you can download anything, any Java project from here. If you want to use Selenium Java, you go over here, you download the latest version from here. You click on jar file, you get the jar file. You want to use Excel reading, go to POI, go over here and download the latest jar file. See, click on jar and it is going to download a jar file. See, a jar file is downloaded, right? Then what you need to do is if you want to do reading, writing with Excel now, you go to build path, add external archives, and add this POI API. So this will contain some classes related to Excel reading. Like Selenium jar contains classes related to browser automation. This contains classes related to Excel reading. Now call those classes, call the method, and do reading, writing with Excel. Same way you want to generate some logs. So download log4j. This is log4j. And click on this version, download bundle or jar file, both are same. And same way you can add it in your project. So one by one, all these Java projects, they provide their APIs in a form of a jar file. You want to add JDBC, or you want to do database testing, just add the JDBC jar. You want to send out automated emails. Once your automation is done, A report is generated. Now you want to send that report as an attachment in an email. Then you need to download Java Mail API. That is a different Java project. So Selenium has nothing to do with these projects. These are created by different vendors. So just go over here and download this jar file and include it in your Eclipse. Same way, like we are integrating these things with Selenium. Now what we want, along with doing UI automation, we can do database testing as well. For that, we just need to search for, let's say we want to do integration with MySQL. So MySQL connector is there, JDBC connector. Just download this jar file and include it in your project. So right click over here and say build path, add external archives, and add the MySQL. Now you can perform a database connectivity, integrate that with Selenium. Now you want to do API automation as well in the same project. So you need not to invest in a separate tool like SOAP UI or Postman or any other tool. In the same project, your company wants that you already have a framework created, which is handling the UI automation, which is handling the database connection. Now we want to do API automation in the same project. Then just search for rest assured. This is another jar file. Download this jar and include it in your project. That's it. Build path, add external, and rest assured jar. And now you can call the classes from this API, from this jar file, and you can do API automation as well. Now, every website, major website, have their mobile application. You want to execute things on real mobile devices, on Android, on iOS. So what you can do in the same framework, you can include APM. And APM is nothing, it's a wrapper over Selenium WebDriver. So if you know Selenium, see Java client for APM, mobile WebDriver. It is WebDriver only. So go over here, download the jar file, include it in your project. Now you can see in the same project, you are handling UI part, you're handling mobile automation, you're handling API, you're handling database, right? And the last thing that is left is Windows automation. So Selenium APM guys itself, they have created something called as WinApp driver. So WinApp driver, I guess it's not available here, but if you search for WinApp driver, so we're gonna get a jar file from somewhere from here. So this is again another Java project. If you look at the test cases, whatever that we are doing, driver, you'll find it over here itself. So all the test steps, everything. So it is supported by your WebDriver API itself. So same code that we write over here, you get a jar file for Windows as well. Add it over here and you can automate your Windows tests as well. So whatever that we have seen in the beginning, that all type of UIs like web-based, desktop, API, database, mobile app can be handled in one single project when you're working with Selenium. You can have one project created and automate all these things, which no other automation tool, RFT, QTP, UFT, cannot support all these integrations in one single project. And that too without charging any license. All these are open source APIs. So that is why Selenium is very popular. Because anything that you can do it in Java, you integrate it in with your Selenium project. Because Selenium has got no boundaries. But Selenium itself is just 25%. Because Selenium can handle only the web-based part. But when you're working with automation project, you practically have to integrate all these things in your project along with Selenium. Right? So to get started with, first get yourself comfortable with Java, with a UI automation. Most of these things we are going to learn it in Selenium course itself. And then later on, add on the API automation part, add on the mobile automation part, and then you can include all these things in one single project as well. Okay, Antariksh has a question. Would having everything in a single framework made it difficult? See, at times there are huge projects created, and it's not like everything will be included in one single class. There are multiple packages as in multiple folders created. So you'll have a different package for API layer, a different package for UI layer, a different package for DB layer. So everything can be easily managed in one single project. And it's not like if you have got a task, because it's like in a framework there's whole big team that is involved in like consuming that framework. So it's not like if I am using Selenium, then I have to look at all the different packages of the framework. If the framework is quite huge, maybe I'm working on just a UI layer, then I'll be concerned more about my UI package. I'll not be looking in the API package, not be looking at the other packages. So it completely depends on the project, the complexity of project that you are working. If you're familiar with API part, if you're familiar with UI part, then you can make a use of the library that you have that is already created in that framework. Right? So it all depends on the requirement. Right. Yes, it can be executed independently as well. Like everything can be clubbed in one single project, and then you just want to do UI automation. So you can access UI test cases if you want to do API automation. Just access the API test cases. So there is like one major framework created which can handle all these APIs. And you want to execute just specific UI automation, then access those packages only, access those test cases only. But the concept remains same, whether you're using UI automation, whether you're using API automation, whether you're using mobile automation, your framework will remain same. That is TestNG. TestNG is the framework where we are going to create test cases. So TestNG will remain same. TestNG will help you create test cases, test suits, right? Which will define the flow of your project. So that thing will remain same. All these log4j and whatever we talked about, database and POI Excel reading, these things will remain same whether you're using UI automation, API automation, or mobile automation. Excel reading will remain same in all these projects. These are utilities, correct? Right? So I hope the wider picture is clear to you guys now, like what exactly is Selenium and how you're going to work with Selenium. Selenium is not a tool that we need to install and then we start with record and play. It's nothing like that, right? We need to have a basic understanding of programming part, the basic core Java. And these days, the profiles are already converted into SDET, that is Software Developer Engineer in Test, right? So testers must have some exposure to the coding part as well, because manual profiles are not at all considered these days. No matter, I mean, even if you in the interview you are applying for manual testing job as well, or maybe you're applying for an automation test engineer, you may be asked all the programming questions related to logic building exercise. Everything is asked in that interview, and at the end, you may gonna see that you are still doing a manual task. So these are the scenarios as well in the industry that mostly automation related interviews are taken, and then in the end, when you are hired, you are doing the manual, you are writing manual test cases and those things. But it's completely depends on you as well, that whenever you're applying for interviews, specifically you'll tell them that you're working in automation, you're not doing manual testing, you are working in automation in some project from last 2 years, and if you are hired, then you'll be doing only automation. You're not going to move to manual environment, be it any requirement or whatever. So you have to be clear at that area. Then only because automation is more like a technical part. Manual testing is not that much technical, although there are so many terminologies in manual testing as well. But like the demand of the industry is that you should be more good in the architect level, more good in the coding part, in all these things, right? So this is where, I mean, whenever there is a recession in the market, if you're good in coding skills, then you're not gonna be worried about the recession. You can easily switch the jobs, right? So many things are there, but it's like down the line, you need to maintain your pace of learning new things. So step by step, you keep on adding these things. Step by step, you keep on adding these things in your resume, and this will gonna bring a lot of weightage to your resume. And down the line, when you are into this automation industry for 1 year, 2 year, you'll see that you have already learned so many things, right? So that's all, guys, for today's session. I hope you have enjoyed the session. So we're gonna meet next weekend, and in the coming week, I'll be sharing you the meeting invites of Code Java as well as the new Selenium batch, and we're gonna add it in the WhatsApp group descriptions as well. We'll share you the WhatsApp details as well. So yeah, people who have already enrolled will be receiving all these things on your email, and rest the recordings of today's session as well will be published soon and will be sent to all your registered mail IDs, right? Performance testing JMeter batch is going to start very soon. The next week we are starting another batch of manual with database testing. So a week after that, we'll start with JMeter, right? So with this lifetime membership, you can attend all the trainings. All right. So thanks a lot, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you, Rahul.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone. Thanks.